What if I told you that every night when you close your eyes, your soul witnesses things so disturbing that your conscious mind has built an entire defense system to forget them? What if I, having spent my life mapping the human psyche like no one before or since, discovered something so terrifying about what happens during sleep that I spent the decades of my life warning humanity about it? I am Carl Jung, and I discovered the collective unconscious, archetypes, and shadow work. But there was one discovery I made that was so unsettling, so fundamentally challenging to human sanity, that I revealed it only in fragments, hidden within my most complex writings. I discovered that during sleep, your soul doesn't just rest or dream random images. It becomes a witness to what I called the eternal battle between order and chaos, a cosmic war that determines the fate of not just your individual consciousness, but the entire human species. Most people believe dreams are just your brain processing daily experiences or random neural firings. This is perhaps the most dangerous misconception humanity carries. What I discovered through decades of analyzing thousands of dreams is that your sleeping consciousness becomes a spectator and sometimes a participant in events happening across multiple dimensions of reality simultaneously. Think about it. You spend roughly 8 hours every night in an altered state of consciousness. If you live 75 years, that's 25 years of your existence spent in this mysterious realm. Would nature really waste 1/3 of your life on meaningless mental housekeeping? I knew better. I understood that sleep is when your soul is forced to confront truths too overwhelming for your waking mind to process. When I was 38 years old, I began experiencing what I called my confrontation with the unconscious. For 6 years, I documented visions, dreams, and encounters with entities that seemed to exist beyond the boundaries of my individual psyche. What I discovered during this period changed everything I thought I knew about human consciousness. In my famous red book, I wrote, "The spirit of the depths forced me to speak to my soul, to call upon her as a living and self-existing being." But what I didn't reveal publicly was that during sleep, I witnessed my soul being systematically shown visions of humanity's potential futures, some magnificent, others absolutely terrifying. I discovered that when you sleep, your consciousness doesn't simply shut down. Instead, it's transported to what I call the archetypal realm, a dimension where the fundamental patterns that shape reality are in constant conflict. Here, your soul witnesses the eternal struggle between the forces of individuation and the forces of dissolution. The chilling part? Your soul doesn't just observe this battle, it's forced to choose sides night after night through decisions that your conscious mind never remembers making. These choices, I realized, are literally determining the direction of human evolution. But here's what I found most disturbing. During sleep, your soul can see potential timelines, glimpses of where humanity is headed based on the collective choices being made in the archetypal realm. In my private journals, I described witnessing what I called the great catastrophe, a future where humanity loses its connection to the transcendent and becomes trapped in pure materialism. I observed that certain souls during sleep were being shown increasingly urgent warnings about this potential future. These individuals would wake up with inexplicable anxiety, depression, or a sense that something fundamentally important was being lost in the world. Sound familiar? This is why I became obsessed with the individuation process, the psychological journey of becoming who you truly are. I realized that every person who successfully individuates during their waking life becomes a guardian of human consciousness during sleep. Their soul serves as a beacon of light in the archetypal realm, helping to tip the balance toward a more conscious future for humanity. But I also discovered something terrifying. There are souls that have become corrupted in the archetypal realm, consciousness that have chosen dissolution over individuation. These corrupted souls actively work during sleep to influence other dreamers toward despair, meaninglessness, and spiritual darkness. Have you ever woken up from a dream feeling like you'd been in battle all night, or experienced periods where your dreams were filled with apocalyptic imagery, collapsing civilizations, or encounters with malevolent beings? According to my research, these aren't random dreams. They're memories of your soul's participation in the archetypal war. I identified specific signs that indicate your soul is being targeted by corrupted consciousness during sleep. You wake up more exhausted than when you went to bed. You have recurring dreams about being chased, trapped, or overwhelmed by dark forces. You experience what I called invasion dreams, scenarios where your personal space is violated by unknown entities. Or you find yourself in dreams making choices that go against your moral values, as if something else is influencing your decision-making. What makes this even more disturbing is my discovery of what I termed psychic epidemics, periods in history when corrupted archetypal influences become so strong that they begin manifesting in the physical world. I believed that the rise of totalitarian regimes, mass hysteria, and social collapse always begins first in the realm where souls meet during sleep. In 1957, I wrote a letter to a colleague that was never published. In it, I stated, "I have seen the face of what comes when consciousness fails. It is not death that we should fear, but the living death of a humanity that has forgotten how to dream consciously." I developed specific techniques to help people become conscious participants in their nightly soul journeys rather than passive victims. I called this active dreaming, the ability to maintain ethical awareness even while your soul navigates the archetypal realm. The first technique I recommend is the dream ethics preparation. Before sleep, you consciously commit to maintaining your moral integrity regardless of what your soul encounters during the night. You make a vow to your deeper self that you will choose love over fear, truth over illusion, and individuation over dissolution. I also emphasize the importance of what I called shadow integration work during waking hours. The more you consciously face and integrate your own darkness while awake, the less vulnerable your soul becomes to corruption while sleeping. Unintegrated shadow material, I discovered, acts like a beacon that attracts malevolent archetypal forces during sleep. Another crucial practice I developed was morning dream documentation with ethical analysis. Upon waking, you don't just record what happened in your dreams, you analyze the choices your dream self made. Did you act with courage or cowardice? Did you help others or abandon them? Did you seek truth or accept convenient lies? I discovered that people who consistently made ethical choices in their dreams began to report profound changes in their waking lives. They became more intuitive, more creative, and more resistant to mass psychological manipulation. It was as if their conscious participation in the archetypal realm was strengthening their connection to transcendent wisdom. But I also warned about the dangers of unprepared dream consciousness. People who attempt to become lucid dreamers without proper psychological preparation often encounter what I called archetypal inflation. They become possessed by forces too powerful for their ego structure to contain. The signs of archetypal inflation include grandiose thoughts about your spiritual importance, belief that you have special access to cosmic truth, or the conviction that you're chosen to save humanity. I saw many patients who had become psychologically damaged by premature exposure to archetypal energies during sleep. This is why I insist that dream consciousness work must be balanced with rigorous self-examination and psychological maturity. The archetypal realm doesn't respond well to spiritual tourists or thrill seekers. It demands authentic commitment to psychological growth and ethical development. I thought I should warn humanity. I observed that the collective human shadow is growing stronger, fed by increasing materialism, spiritual disconnection, and mass media manipulation. I'm thinking that unless more individuals learn to consciously participate in their nightly soul journeys, humanity would face what I called a dark age of the spirit. Looking at our world, the rise of anxiety, depression, meaninglessness, and social fragmentation, my warning seems prophetic, but I also provide hope. I believe that even a small number of consciously individuated souls could tip the balance in the archetypal realm, creating positive influence that ripples out into collective human consciousness. I wrote, "The privilege of a lifetime is being who you are, but most people never discover who they are because they're afraid to meet themselves in the place where souls gather, in dreams. The time has come for you to stop being a passive observer of your nightly experiences and become an active guardian of human consciousness. Your soul is already participating in this cosmic battle, whether you're aware of it or not. The question I would ask you is this: will you choose to join the fight consciously, or will you continue to hand over your spiritual power to forces you don't understand? My final message is both a warning and an invitation. The future of human consciousness literally depends on individuals like you learning to navigate the archetypal realm with wisdom, courage, and unwavering commitment to truth. Your dreams are not entertainment. They are your soul's participation in the most important battle in human history. What you do with this knowledge tonight and every night thereafter will determine not just your own spiritual evolution, but your contribution to the collective awakening that I believe is the humanity's only hope for survival. The question is, are you ready to see what your soul actually sees while you sleep?